Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to Apron Strings. I tried to do a video yesterday because I told y'all I'd do one Tuesday. Well, it was a total flop. And I'm going to do it again later, so I'm not even going to talk about it. But today we're going to have some a side dish vegetables. My garden's coming in. I planted that garden, I watered it and tended to it, and now I'm reaping some benefits. I've got a pot of green beans cooking that I picked this morning, fresh green beans, and I'm cooking them. I chopped up about 4 pieces of bacon and got it crisp, and then I added a half of a medium-sized onion, and when it kind of wilted down, I added 3 garlic cloves minced. Cooked that for about 2 minutes, and then I added 4 or 5 cups of water and a little bit of better than bouillon chicken, and added my green beans to it, and I'm letting them cook, and it's going to be delicious. So I'm going to make a dish out of some of the zucchini, and I'm going to make Cajun zucchini. So let me get everything together, and I'll get y'all over to the butcher block, and we will make us a side dish. Before I get started, I want to show y'all what came in the mail. Travis ordered an apron to surprise his wife, and I think she found out and ended up picking a little bit different fabric, but it was tea-related fabric, and I thought that was the sweetest thing. He was gonna surprise her with an apron. Even had it mailed to his workplace where he could take it home to her. I thought that was so sweet. Of course, I'm kind of sentimental sometimes, but I got a package in the mail, and she made me the most beautiful handmade card, and her name is Leslie. I don't know how to pronounce their last name. You know, my maiden name was Trevathan, and it got stabbed all different ways, people trying to pronounce it. So I'm just going to say Leslie and Travis. And he told me that she had made me something in appreciation for the videos that she's learned recipes from, and she hoped I liked it. Well, number one, it's red, and she hand painted this big old pretty rooster on this cheese box that I can use for storage. I love it. My mama used to do, she used to paint, and a lot of her specialty was old barns and stuff, and she'd always have a few chickens or an old pig laying there. But when she did cheese boxes, they were more folk art looking chickens, and I like this kind of chicken, so I will treasure this the rest of my life, and then I will pass it down to somebody else that'll treasure it. Leslie, I love it, and thank you so very much. Now, I've received a lot of different things from y'all. I've got one couple that sent me money 2 or 3 times to help with the groceries. And Barbara from San Antonio has sent me packages that I get the cutest. I love wind chimes. And I've got 2 different sets of wind chimes that she has sent me. And of course, when I hear them chiming out there, I think about her. So thank you for everybody that sent stuff. I've had pot holders, I've had dish rags, I've had all kinds of gifts. And if I'm forgetting something, I'm sorry. My forgetter works real good, and I try to fix it, but sometimes it don't work. But I love to get little prizes, and I've gotten flower seed. Linda sent me flower seed. I've had all kinds of different stuff, and I thank you for it. But this is what just came, so I can remember it real good. But anyhow, I'm going to get my zucchini chopped up, and I just like to kind of do it in chunks. You can do it however you want to, but I'm going to half it, and then cut it. That's just how I'm going to do it today. And we're just going to saute it till it gets kind of tender. I'm going to put some onions with it. And this is really not a recipe, it's more a method, so y'all need to pay attention to what I'm doing and what I'm putting in it. I'm just doing fresh zucchini. And I'll tell you what else I'm going to do, because when you grow zucchini, you usually have a whole lot more than you need. That cake I made the other day, the Amish apple zucchini cake, I love it. So it takes 1.5 cups of grated zucchini. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grate some up and go ahead and measure it out in the 1.5 cup measures. Somebody going real slow down my road. That way I can just reach in the freezer and get it when I'm ready to make some more of those cakes, or another one of those cakes. It's so moist and good. Instead of a bundt, you can make it into 2 loaves, and that's what I'm going to do the next time, is make me a couple of loaves. Alright, I'm going to get a pot and get my onion sauteing down. And when it gets sauteed down, I'll show y'all what I'm going to put in there next. And I'm going to put some chicken broth in and just cook my zucchini till it's just tender crisp. And with all the flavor and the stuff around it, it's going to be yummy. So I'll be back in just a minute. I'm not going to put bacon in this, but I am going to saute my stuff in bacon grease. I save it in the ice box where it won't go rancid. And then I just scoop me some out because I like the flavor of the bacon. So y'all need to save your bacon fat, and you can season with it and you feel like you're in the South. Let me get this put back in the ice box. And I know some of y'all laughing at me, but that's what we've always called it all my life, is an ice box. And we've always had electricity, but the reason it was called an ice box is because they would have a thing built similar, and they'd have a block of ice in there to keep stuff cold. So it was called the ice box. So that was during my mama's day. So when they got their first refrigerator, it was a Frigidaire, they called it an ice box still. It was just an electric ice box. So I grew up calling it an ice box, and 95% of the time that's what I still call it. And it does have some ice in it in the freezer part, so I guess I'm doing right. I'm just going to kind of cut this no certain way. I just want to get it in this bacon fat and cook it down a little bit. That core thing off. It's going to be all different sizes, but it's going to be good because it's going to soften up. Okay, I'm going to let that, I might need a little bit more. Cut the fire down. I think I'm going to get another one and put a little bit more onion in there. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of a jalapeno in it. I like it spicy. Y'all don't have to do that. But in a minute I'll kind of tell you everything that I've added so you can write it down so you can make you some. Good sweet Vidalia onions that I got at Costco. I love it when they get them in every year. So I'll just chop up another bit here. I raised some yellow squash, and when I bought the plants, bought it when I was up at A&M with Laura, and there's the neatest farmer's market there that sells plants. Well, they were labeled straight neck yellow squash. Well, they were kind of crook necked, and they had warts all over them. They were horrible. So when I cut them open, I picked them small because they were warty, and I thought, I bet they're going to be tough. They had seeds in them big as a pumpkin seed. Big old seeds. So I just took them out to the chickens, and they're having their vegetables. So I was going to make a squash casserole using that yellow squash, but I decided I'd make me some Cajun zucchini right quick to go with my green beans. And it ain't going to be just green. I wouldn't have 2 things that's just green. I like different colored stuff on the table. So let that cook down a little bit, and then I'll be back and we'll get on to the next step. But you need to cut your zucchini in your slices or chunks. You need to saute you a medium-sized onion in olive oil, butter, or bacon fat. And then when it kind of caramelizes, I'm going to add some garlic cloves minced. And then I'll add my squash in there, cook it a little bit, and then we're going to add the rest of the stuff. This is going to be good, and you need some cornbread with it. I just wanted to show y'all, see the onions are getting a little brown on them, sizzling in that bacon fat, and I'm fixing to add the zucchini to it. Got my zucchini all chunked up, and I'm just going to drop it over in there and let it cook just a little bit. And then we're going to add some tomatoes and some seasoning to it. Okay, let me gather me some handfuls of it up and just drop it in the pot. I'm going to cut that down to low because I don't want it to cook real fast and be real mushy. I want it to hold a little bit of its shape. So I'll give it a little stir here. Now I've got a couple of pieces that I left too big. I'll trim them down a little bit more. I got a big mouth, but it ain't that big. Ouch. Well, I'll make me a cutting board right here. Y'all ever do that? You have to improvise sometimes. Okay, I'm going to let it cook just a little bit, and then I'll bring the camera over here and show y'all what it looks like and what we're going to do next. Okay, y'all can see the zucchini's taking on a little bit of color. So I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes and just let it simmer. And I'm going to add some more stuff, and I'll let you know what I'm putting in there. I'm adding one 14-ounce can of the red gold petite dice with green chilies. Instead of me seating a jalapeno, I'm just going to add those. And I'm adding 1 can of whole tomatoes. Now, I've used up all of my canned tomatoes, or I would be using my own. I really hope my tomato crop grows good. I was real proud of these beans I got to use today out of my garden. I'm going to do a video this evening when it cools down, show y'all what my raised beds and all look like now. When y'all saw them, you couldn't hardly tell anything was planted in them. When they are doing so good, and I'm so happy. My happy place in the backyard. Okay, remember I told y'all about that Cajun seasoning called Zydeco? That has bell peppers and onions and celery in it. Maybe garlic. I'll look and see what all's in it, but I'm going to add some of that and let it rehydrate and put its flavor into my tomatoes that's on my zucchini. So let me get it, and we'll talk about it some more, and I'll put some in the pot. Okay, the stuff is called Zydeco Chop Chop. And I ordered in the gallon jug. You can order it from, I'm pretty sure it's Zydeco.com. And it comes out of Opelousas, Louisiana. So it's true Cajun seasoning. And let me see what's in it. It has onion, garlic, red and green bell pepper, celery, green onions, tops, and dehydrated parsley flakes. Makes a lot of stuff taste good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get me a handful of it out, which is going to be about 1/4 of a cup probably, and add it for seasoning, maybe a little bit more. I love that stuff. Makes your gumbo or whatever you want to cook good, because it puts that good Cajun seasoned flavoring in it. Now I'm just going to let this simmer and let all of that rehydrate. And then I'll see if I need to add a little bit more liquid or not. I think this is going to be right. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is good like this. It's good as a side dish. It's good to eat with cornbread. And it's good to put over rice or noodles if you wanted to. It's good. Now I could add a little bit of filet and make it like a vegetable gumbo, but I'm not. I'm just going to eat it like this. But I'm just going to let it all blend a little bit on low with the lid on. And we'll come back and check it out in a minute, taste of it. And I might go ahead and add some Tony Chachere's to it, but I got a taste of it first. I don't want to get it too hot, and I don't want it too salty. So we're going to taste and adjust. And then I'll go over step by step what I've done, but there's not going to be a card at the end. You're just going to have to listen to me and cook your own. You can do green beans this same way. When I was in high school in home economics, the light company would send representatives to our home ec class, and we always had this little recipe folder, and I've still got mine all these 52 years later, 56 years later. That was my freshman year. And they would do a demonstration and give us the recipes. Well, they did Creole green beans, and they did them the same way that I'm doing this zucchini. Only they use canned green beans, but they seasoned it the same, and I still like them cooked like that. But I'm the only one that likes it like that. Troy's he's not fond of tomato stuff, cooked tomato stuff like I am. That's why I like Italian food so good. Everything's got red tomatoes on it, and I love it. But in Mexican food. But anyway, that's where I got the original idea for this, was because I remembered how we did the green beans, and then I cooked them at home for Mom and Daddy, and Daddy liked them. I don't remember if Mama did or not. Daddy was a good eater, and he liked them. Except one time I made homemade biscuits, and I was so proud of myself, and Daddy said, well, Bugs, them look like little terrapins. And they were about as hard as a turtle, too, let me tell you. But I tried. That's the only time I ever remember him really criticizing something that I cooked. He would usually just eat it and act like it was the best thing since sliced cheese, but I don't know. Anyway, let's let this simmer a little bit, and then I'll be back and we'll taste of it, see if we need to add something else to it. Okay, y'all, it's done, and my zucchini is a little crisp, so it's not just a bunch of mush. It would be so good over some egg noodles or some rice. But I'm just going to eat it like this as a side dish. Now I'm going to set this camera back on the tripod and go through what I did so y'all can cook some at your house. Okay, y'all, first I started with zucchini that I grew in my garden. And I washed it and I cut it up and I set it aside. I chopped a medium onion. Let me just go through the ingredients. I had 4 zucchini. A medium onion. I think I put a couple of cloves of garlic in it. A can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, and it was a 14-ounce can, and a 14-ounce can of whole tomatoes. I put probably 1/3 cup of Zydeco Chop in there. I put maybe a tablespoon of onion powder and a teaspoon of garlic powder, and salt to taste. And I let it cook until it was tender, crisp. Now I told y'all what's in the Zydeco, and that gives it a lot of flavor. So I'm going to taste of it here. I'm trying to let it cool a little bit because I never did like to burn my mouth on stuff. But I know it's good. The zucchini still has a little bit of crunch to it, and I like that. You could use this like a meat-free casserole and put it over egg noodles, or you could put it over rice. You could stir enough of either of those in it, put a little cheese on the top, put it in the oven and melt the cheese, and have a whole different casserole. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. But here's your way to use some of that extra zucchini that you're growing in your garden. Now I'm fixing to make a casserole that'll be probably in the next video. I had grilled some chicken on my pellet grill and had some left over, so we're going to have a chicken casserole coming up probably the next video, or the next, because I want to do a garden tour. So y'all got several that I've got up here, if I can get them on there where you can see them. I hope y'all are still putting you a can of beans and corn and an extra bag of flour and sugar and cornmeal and some oatmeal up. Because with this shipping situation looking like it is, you're probably going to need it. Now, don't expect to go to your neighbor's house and eat their stuff that they're putting up, and you know they're putting it up, when you won't put it up at your house. I told somebody yesterday, if you have done everything you can to provide for your family and the store shelves are empty and you run out of something, I'll share with you. But people that aren't doing anything and they think, oh, I'll just go to her house and eat, they won't get a handout at my house. Y'all can think I'm ugly or whatever, but that's just good sense. You help people that try to help themselves, not bums. So anyway, get you a little bit of stuff ahead, because we don't know what's going to happen and how long it'll take them to get the wheels rolling again if they stop. So be wise and provide for your family. Like I told you, I think the Lord will help stretch stuff if we do our part and we're pleasing Him with our life. I do what I can for my children, and I'm His kid. So if you do your part and you live for Him and you try to please Him and you have a daily communication and visit with Him, if you need stuff to stretch a little bit, He did it in the Bible, and the Bible said He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if He stretched their stuff in the Bible and made it last longer, He can do that for us if we do our part. But if you don't have anything in your bowl for Him to stretch, you're going to be in a mess. So get you some stuff ahead. I'm thankful that y'all have been patient with me. I can't say what's been wrong with me. I just didn't have any energy. I never take naps. I have taken naps 2 or 3 days. But I feel good now. So maybe whatever it is past. Might have been, I've been working hard in the backyard in the heat, but I'm still doing that and I'm feeling good now. So I must have had some kind of bug. But I couldn't put a name to him, so I'm glad he's gone. And I'm just going to get on with doing what I like to do. The Lord bless and keep y'all. He's a good Lord. Give Him His thanks. Ask for His blessings, and I ask Him to bless y'all and bring you right back here to my kitchen to watch the next video. I'll see y'all in a day or two.